So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily MCQ Practice. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs through a set of 4 to 5 MCQs. Okay. Now, MCQ practice is very important if you're serious about prelims examination. Why? Because prelims examination is all about MCQs. And practicing MCQs from the topic of current affairs becomes extremely important because 40 to 50% of the questions asked in the prelims examination are directly or indirectly related to current affairs. Therefore, practicing current affairs through MCQs is very, very, very important. In fact, MCQ practice in general is very important for prelims because knowledge doesn't matter until and unless you have practiced MCQs from that knowledge. If you are really serious about prelims examination. Okay, so make sure you make this lecture series a part of your daily routine. Why? Because 4 to 5 MCQs right now might seem like little effort, but covered on a daily basis, these 4 to 5 MCQs would add up to more than 1200 MCQs, and that too from the topic of current affairs alone. I'm not talking about static subjects like polity, economy, geography. No, from current affairs alone. So make this a daily habit of yours. All right, let's start today's discussion, starting with question number 1. Consider the following statements regarding Fort William, Kolkata. It was originally constructed by British government in 1706 under Sir John Goldsborough. The Black Hole tragedy of Calcutta was orchestrated by Siraj-ud-Daulah in this fort. The fort was named after King William III of England and is now being renamed as Shivaji Fort. Okay. Now look, Fort William currently is the headquarters of Eastern Command. Eastern Command. Eastern Command of Indian Army. Now, the thing is that it is called Fort William because it was constructed by colonial government. But when we got independence, we made this Fort William as the headquarters of Eastern Command. Now, recently, Indian Army has decided to change the name of Fort William to Vijay Durg. To Vijay Durg. Now, as far as the history of Fort William is concerned, well, it was constructed by East India Company, not British government, but a company of British government called East India Company in 1706 under Sir John Goldsborough. All right, this statement would have been correct had East India Company been written instead of British government. Okay, now the thing is that in 1756, this Fort William was destroyed by Nawab of Bengal called Siraj-ud-Daulah, and he basically captured East India Company officials and locked them, packed them in a small tiny room. All those people died of breathlessness. Okay, this is known as the Black Hole of Calcutta, and this was a tragedy in colonial history, as per the colonial masters of ours back then. Okay, so British call it the Black Hole tragedy, and it was orchestrated by Siraj-ud-Daulah in this very fort in 1756. After that, he destroyed this Fort William. Okay, then East India Company fought against Nawab of Bengal Siraj-ud-Daulah, and this famous battle is known as the Battle of Plassey. Okay, where the East India Company won under Robert Clive, and after winning, Robert Clive reconstructed this fort, and this fort still stands today. All right, so Black Hole tragedy, absolutely yes, was orchestrated by Siraj-ud-Daulah. Now the fort was named after King William III of England, absolutely correct, and is now being renamed as Shivaji Fort. No, it is being renamed as Vijay Durg. Though Vijay Durg is also a fort in Maharashtra, in Sindhugarh, Maharashtra. Okay, it was constructed by Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji, this Sindhugarh fort, and it is called Vijay Durg only. So basically, this fort that was constructed by Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji, well, Fort William is inspired from that. Okay, and that is why it is being renamed as Vijay Durg, which is also the name of the Sindhugarh fort constructed by Shivaji. So Shivaji has some connection, but It is not named Shivaji Fort, it is named Vijaydurg. So this statement is false. Answer is A. Question number 2. Which of the following statements is are correct regarding Teesta River? It originates from Solahomo Lake in Sikkim. It flows through Sikkim and West Bengal before joining Jamuna River in Bangladesh. Teesta River basin is vulnerable to glacial lake outburst floods. Teesta Water Sharing Agreement is a formal treaty between India and Bangladesh signed in 2015. Alright, now look. Teesta River, also known as the lifeline of Sikkim, okay, is a very important river in Sikkim. It originates from Solamo Lake in Sikkim, absolutely correct, in Sikkim Himalayas, and flows through Sikkim, then West Bengal, and then enters Bangladesh and joins Brahmaputra River in Bangladesh. But the thing is that Brahmaputra River in Bangladesh is called Jamuna River. Okay, so this statement is also correct. Now, the thing is that in 2023, Sikkim faced massive floods, and it was because of this Teesta River. And the reason for those floods was that Teesta receives its waters from various glaciers, right? Now, these glaciers, when they melt, they form a lake. They are bound by surrounding mountains and they form a lake. But sometimes the walls of those lakes get ruptured and it leads to glacial lake outburst flood. These floods happened in 2023 and destroyed a lot of property and costed many lives in Sikkim. Okay, so Teesta River basin is vulnerable to glacial lake outburst flood. Okay, now the thing is that India and Pakistan have Indus Water Treaty, which is about sharing of waters of Indus and its tributaries, right? So India and Pakistan have water sharing arrangement through Indus Water Treaty. India and Bangladesh also have Ganga Water Treaty, which involves sharing of waters from Ganga River. Okay. Now, Bangladesh also wanted a proper sharing mechanism with respect to Teesta River because Teesta River also flows from India to Bangladesh. And Bangladesh has been asking a proper water sharing agreement with India. But this agreement has not been formalized yet. Okay, it is still under negotiation. So, Teesta Water Sharing Agreement is formal treaty. No, it is still not formal. Okay, and it was never signed in 2015. It is still pending. Negotiations are going on, and let's see what happens in the future. So this is false. 1, 2, and 3. D. Question number 3. Consider the following statements regarding Grameen Credit Score Scheme launched by government. The scheme was announced in Union Budget 2025-26 to evaluate credit worthiness of rural women entrepreneurs and self-help groups. The scheme shall be designed, developed, and implemented by Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Finance. Now, the thing is that in this year's budget, this scheme was announced, Grameen Credit Score Scheme. The thing is that when you receive loans from banks, okay, before giving you any loan, banks assess you and they assess your credit score. Okay. Now, this credit score is available on CIBIL. Okay, that is why it is also called CIBIL score. If you have a high credit score, that means you are a credit worthy borrower. That means that you will pay back your loan obligations. Okay, but if in the past you haven't been paying regularly, maybe your credit card bills, your loan payments regularly, then your credit score declines. Banks need this credit score before providing you with any loan. But the problem is that people in remote rural areas, especially women entrepreneurs who run micro enterprises, tribal enterprises, or self help groups, they don't have any credit score, official formal credit score. And that is why they receive many problems or they face many problems while receiving formal loans from banks or other microfinance institutions. That is why the scheme was launched to use digital data in giving these rural women entrepreneurs and self-help groups a credit score so that it becomes easier for banks and microfinance institutions to provide them with credit. Okay, so first statement is correct. Now this scheme shall be designed, developed and implemented by public sector banks of India. Okay, not Department of Financial Services, but Public Sector Banks of India. So this statement is false. Okay, and the answer is only one. Okay, and last, consider the following statements regarding sacred groves of India. These are areas of natural vegetation that have special religious importance within a particular culture. As per the Forest Rights Act, these are put under community ownership and are controlled by Gram Sabha of that region. Maharashtra has the highest number of sacred groves in India. Now, what are sacred groves? Basically, in India, we have many tribal societies, and these tribal societies live in forest areas, right? For some of these tribes, some forest areas are sacred. Okay. Now, as per Wildlife Protection Act, forest areas, if any area is declared as a forest area, it is under the control of government. Okay. But many of these tribal communities consider this area to be sacred and they want to manage this area on their own. So for that purpose, Forest Rights Act was enacted. Okay. And under Forest Rights Act, these forests, some of the forests which are important for tribals or forest dwelling communities, would be managed or would be owned by the community, the local community. This is known as community ownership. So Forest Rights Act basically recognizes community ownership. Okay? And these tribal communities will have Gram Sabhas, right? So they are controlled and managed by Gram Sabhas. So sacred groves as per Forest Rights Act are managed by Gram Sabhas, and as far as ownership is concerned, they are owned by the entire community. And these people actually protect these areas, protect these forests, okay? Because these forests are sacred for them. They have spiritual connection, religious connection, ritualistic connection with them, okay? So first statement is correct. As per Forest Rights Act, these are put under community ownership. Absolutely correct. Now, which state of India has the highest number of sacred groves, declared sacred groves? So it is Himachal Pradesh. After that, it's Maharashtra, but it's Himachal Pradesh. So this statement is false. 1 and 2. The answer is A. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. But it would add more value if you'll revise this lecture as well. Okay. Now, by revision, I mean you need to go through the detailed written solutions of each and every MCQ discussed above. Now, these solutions are available in our notes, and these notes are available on our Telegram channel. All you have to do is just click on the link given below this video in the comment section. It will take you to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download the notes for this lecture and do the necessary revision. All right. On that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.